This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Baruch Haba. Good to see everybody back. We're continuing in Mishnah Berura Yomi. We're up to Siman Yud Aleph. I believe we're up to Sif Daled. Siman Yud Aleph, Sif Daled. Oirach Hachutim Hashmoina. The length of the 8 strings. Ein Pachos Me Arba Gudalim. Are not less than 4 thumbs. Now, what does that mean, the 8 strings? You take 4 strings and you put it into the hole, and then when you double it over, it becomes 8 strings. So when they're coming out of the hole, from the hole, the length of each of these 4 strings that now become 8, of each of the 8 strings are not less than 4 thumbs. Now, how big? Some people have very big thumbs. Some people have little thumbs. We have to see how to measure that. Some say, Shneim Asar Gudalim, 12 thumbs. V'chein noyagin, that is the minhag. Ulamala ein lahem shiur. They could be as long as you want. You want it to be so long that it extends to your friend in Los Angeles, not a problem. They could be, there's no shiur how long they could be. I think in the Gemara, in Gittin, by the Gemara the Churban, there was an individual by the name of Ben Tzitzis HaKeses. He had very long tzitzis. So there's no shiur lamala. Haga v'masa asoy oirach yoyser midai yachal katzroi. Ve'in b'zeh mishum tasal emras. Let's say it's really long and it's dragging. You can't even move. The guy's mamish, he's carrying tzitzis. The tzitzis weigh 10 tons. That's how long they are. So that he can't move. So now you think if you cut them down to size, it's going to be tasav loyman asa. No, it's not. There's no psul in length. Let's see the Mishnah Berura. Me'arba gudalim umedidas haguda b'chamakim hu shel adam beinani. An average person, an average size thumb. Now, what's an average size? You really have to take a poll. You would have to take an extensive poll. Everybody stick out your thumb. We're going to measure everyone's thumb. I don't know if we can measure it on the Zoom screen. I don't know if it gives an accurate. Everybody write down. I want you to measure your thumb. Maybe we should do that. We have a minion. Everyone write. I don't have a ruler on me. But everyone measure your thumb. Maybe the homework for tomorrow. Everyone measure your thumb. We'll see what the median thumb width. You measure it by the top joint. And the place where it's wide in the middle. So in other words, which part of the thumb? Presumably it means the top joint, paraka elyon, the top section, where it's the widest part. Now it doesn't get, at least in my thumb, it doesn't get too much naur on the top, but the place that you measure it is in the widest point. The Shiur Gudal hu keroichav sheva sa'oros. It's 7 barleys. Zu bitzatzu bedoichak. That's why Yidden are makbid to eat cholent. Because when you eat cholent, you get at least 7 barleys in a bowl. And this way you could always have in mind the shiur of the width of a goydel. Okay, so if that didn't help, right? In other words, if you're not sure what a thumb is, 7 barleys. There's 7 barleys put together tightly. In length, there are 2 barleys spaced. 7 barleys, one on side of the other, is in lengthwise 2 barleys in berevach. Okay, how much is that in exact measurement? I don't have my dirshu on me. So it's either 7 barleys, one alongside the other, or 2 in the lengthwise. V'cheinoya again to do 12 thumbs. Now our strings are much, much, much longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our strings are longer. Not much, much, much longer, but our strings are longer. Says Mishra b'chein pasuk halavush v'imkin lo yafa oisin hamoichin shemitzamtzim midas arkan. The tzitzis salesmen, they're not doing right. That they give you a very limited length of string. If you don't have 12, if you don't have 12 thumbs worth, it's going to be a bracha v'atala, or it's close to it. Ki after min atara dai b'choshu, even though Dirsha says 2.4 centimeters. Chazoinish, yeah, we need Ramosha. They have Ramosha or Reb Chaim Noah. Even though midaraisa, it's enough a little bit. Midrabanon beinon sheyeshneim asar gudalim achar hakshira. Rabbinically, you need 12 gudal after the knot. Besides the corner and besides the knot, you need 12. So I'm going to measure quickly if I have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I definitely have 12. I don't have that much more than 12. At least my tzitzis, my talis is probably longer. I probably didn't even... I probably have about 14. That's my guess, unless my thumb size is not representative. But midrabanon, you need 12 after the knot. Now here's the question: do you need 12 after the kesher goidel, the first knot, or do we count the wrappings and the knot? That the Mishnah Berura doesn't say, because there's a lot of material in all the wrappings and all the windings. So Mishnah Berura doesn't say. He says you start counting the 12 after the knot. Okay. Chaf Aleph. Siv Katan Chaf Aleph. Shiur v'ri haya noye Glatstein orach yoiser kedei shem yipasik tzaz gam ken yishar b'kasher. The ri, who's the ri over here? I knew this would happen. I don't think I ever saw in my life the Mishnah Berura quote the ri, but because we just came back from the ri's kever, the ri hazaken was makbid to. I mean, you tell me. I'm not making this up. I don't think I ever. Only in Hilchos Yom Kippur. And even there, we know the Ri kept 2 days Yom Kippur. But somebody do a search if the Mishnah Berura ever quoted the Ri. Anyway, the Ri made it much longer. Now, my tzitzis comes with mamish every possible hechsher, saying, I have a badatz eda charedes, but it's not that much more than 12 thumbs, unless we could count from the first knot. Then it would be a lot more than 12 thumbs. Okay. Siv Katan weiter in Mechaber. Echad me'achutim yoiser arach. One of the strings should be longer, kedei sheyichruch by hagadol, so that you could wrap the tassel. Says the Rama, Hagadil, Hainu hecholok me'atzitzis. No, I don't think this is the Rama, but Hagadil, Hainu hecholok me'atzitzis she'eno arog. The Gadil is the smooth part of the tzitzis that's not woven. So in other words, you need a longer one to wrap around the part of the tzitzis that's going straight down. Hagav v'shir hanizkar yeh b'tzitzis la'achar shenikshar. This shear needs to be in the tzitzis after it's knotted, besides what's put on the corner of the beged. Says Mishnah Berura, Siv Katan Chaf Beis, it should be much longer. Yeah. Let's say you don't have one that's much, much longer to be able to do all the wrappings. In other words, if let's say they're basically all equal length, so you're not going to be able to do all the windings with one, because then in the end, that one is going to be less than 12 goydel. So what you could do is you could alternate which one you do the wrapping. Well, you first do 7, then you do 8, and then you do 11, then you do 13. So maybe the 7 you'll do with one string, and the 8 you'll do with another, and the 11 with another. And some with another string. You say, how could you do that? Well, back in the day, they would do that because when they had tchila, some of them they would wrap with blue wool and some of them they would wrap with the white. You need to remain in all the strings 12 gudalin after the kricha and the kshira, like the Ramah says, even this long one, which started off being really long, after you do all the windings, that one also needs to have 12 gudal. You want to make sure that that one also has 12. Okay, let's finish the Mishnah on this sif, and then we'll see some of the Biur Halachas tomorrow. But the fourth Biur Halacha says that b'diavad, you don't have to be machmer that the long string should be so long if after the first windings and tying it has 12 thumbs. I mean, that was the question we discussed. In other words, at what point does it have to have 12 thumbs? After all the windings in the knot or after the first one? So the Biur Halacha says, at least regarding the long string, which has to be really long, if it's 12 after the first set of windings and the knot, if it has 12 thumbs after that, it's okay. That definitely implies that the requirement of 12 thumbs is after all the windings and all the knots, because it's a special kula by the really long one, which is so long. Okay, we'll let it go if it's 12 after the first winding. Okay. Now, let us see Mishna Berura, Sivkatan Chav Gimel. Hagadil, Karoi, Gidil, Al Shem Ha'asid, Shenas Gidil Achash Nechar. It's called Gidil because it will eventually be a tassel. Okay, the Anayusi, I'm going to tell you that I don't think I was clear who's talking in the words Hagadil Hainu Hachalak Metzis She'eno Arag. Is it the printer talking? Is it the Mechaber talking? Is it the Ramah talking? Because at first I thought it was the Ramah, but then the Ramah begins Haga, so I thought maybe it's not the Ramah. But here the Mishnah Berura is saying something that probably we should try to remember, and that is, this is the Ramah talking. Even though it doesn't say Haga, Haga is when the Ramah is qualifying, arguing, disagreeing. But here he's like a Rashi. Hagadil, he's defining what is the Gadil. I mean, that's at least the way the Mishnah Berura is reading it. At first, it's smooth without any windings. This is the Yad Ephraim. I'm sure everybody knew that, but I was not Berura who mi amar the words Hagadil Hainu Achal, because you have that a lot. You have that very often. I don't think I saw Berura that is the Ramah talking. Okay. Sivkatan Chavdalet Hagav V'Shir Aniskar Yeh B'Tzitzis after a turn Umishum Hakashira Sha'isa Megdil Miskatzer. And because of the knots that you make in the Gedil, it gets shortened. Ubay Etzba Yisera, you need an additional Etzba. Dainu Shloisha Gedolim Mulvad Ma Shamuna Chala Beged V'Afilu B'Diavad Ma'akev. V'Oila Mekilim Bezeh. People are lenient for Roy Limchas B'Yadam. Now I don't understand something. The knot only shortens it one thumb. You're making 5 knots. Isn't that more than one thumb? Is he talking about the final knot? In other words, what does the Mishnah Berura mean that because of the knot that you make in the Gedil, it shortens, and you need another finger? Now, you're making 5 knots, and you're making 7, 8, 11, and 13 windings. That's going to be a lot more than one thumb. I would say that's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 thumbs worth. So, l'chara, the Mishnah Berura means the final knot. The final double knot, unless he means all the knots without the windings. I would assume he means the final knot. Because if you're including all the knots, I think it has to be a lot more than 13 thumbs worth, because all the knots together will be wider than one thumb. But that's the bottom line, that your string should be, all 8 strings should be 12 thumbs wide. Okay, great to see everybody. And we'll maybe try to see some of the Biur Halachos tomorrow. Have a great day. Bracha v'atzlacha. 1 second.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.